Change is written on all things, and although in essence soul can never alter, yet its mood and phases constantly do. Else hell would be a permanency. Earth stands still, and heaven itself grow monotonous. In accordance with this principle, therefore, no scene in the soul world is permanency. But as soon as one has produced all the joy it can from those whom it is an outgrowth or projection, it changes, but ever towards a higher and more resplendent. One question there was, of a great weight and importance, which I asked of my soul, and to which the response after time I flowed in. It was this: do spiritual beings live eternally as distinct entities, or are they after a time absorbed into deity, as the higher Brahmins and other Orientalists maintain? The reply to this was, reasoning from what any human being knows, no matter how lofty he may be in intellect, the decision arrived it must be conjectural at best. For whether we are to be forever can only be known to him who taketh no one into his counsels. But reasoning from what we already know concerning the nature of the soul, mind, thought, and capacity, the inference is plain that no absolute absorption will ever take place, but that double unit man will forever preserve his distinct and marked personality. Question: are idiots immortal? Answer: all that is born of human parents, all beings who took their external forms through the agency and channels of the male brain, nerves, prostate, intestines, and female matrix, are necessarily immortal. Question: but animals have been impregnated by male brutes of the human species, and human females have been born offspring to brutes, if human medical testimony. But whether such cases have or have not occurred, suppose it were to take place, would such offspring, whether begotten of by an animal or the parents of being undoubtedly human, be immortal? Answer: as monsters, no. Idiots, both of whose parents are human, are essentially immortal. Idiocy is but another name for weakness, and a monad, having once put forth its power sufficient to build itself a full human body, no matter how imperfect, must necessarily put forth more of its inherent energies, if not in one world or sphere, then in another, in the nurseries of the soul world. And as it grows strong to gradually approach the point of selfness, the ego will not be attained. It is the only question of time and condition. Not so with semi-brutes. Question: but women have conceived from human union, yet, owing to some accident or fright, have brought forth monsters. Are these immortal? Answer: no thing that is not human is immortal, in the sense of self-poised and self-presence. If these monsters are cerebrally human, then their malformation be merely limb distortion, then that thing is destined to supermundane existence. Question: but human bodies, though brainless ones, have been born of women. Answer: well, they are not immortal. Violent chemical action in utero has destroyed the conditions of successful monad gestation, while perpetuating the vegetative fatal life. Of course, the thing is soulless. Question: but the mortal had begun to put forth its energies. What, then, has become of it? Is it forever blotted out of being? Answer: there stands a human female, but the body you see is not herself. The soul is she, not the flesh it wears. The monsters treated of in the medical works are but the product of the body, not of the soul. In order to an immortality, the germ or monad must pass through a spiritual atmosphere interflowing in the material of oxygenic one, into the nostrils and brains and soul of a male, thence through the parts and processes already mentioned. Now the human form born brainless is of the natural of abortion, and as a question arises, are abortions immortal? That is, a human germ, when first planted at the digestive center, undergoes a variety of rapid and extraordinary changes, assuming successfully the typical forms of all and less orders of animated nature, from the jellyfish to the perfectly human. In some women, these processes are pushed with extraordinary vigor and speed, so that at the end of the very short period of the fetus possesses all the requisites for permanency except physical vigor. If the abortion takes place, the nursling is provided for and grows to comparative perfection, in the soul worlds, of course. Such beings constitute a distinct and separate order of souls, and are, by the great soul law, condemned to come to earth, and by association and affiliation with embodied persons through magnetic rapport, experience the pleasures and pains of self-development. But to our subject, if abortion takes place before the monad has, in the womb, put forth its powers to a degree wherein the human characteristics rise above all, and the lower forms, before its shape is perfectly formed, then immortality does not follow. Question. But what becomes of the monad, the germ, the human point, the divine spark, the pivot? Answer. It remains, and in the fatal body till dissolution and decay shall set it free, whereupon it floats again into the spiritual atmosphere until it is inhaled by a human male again, whereupon it's perhaps and perhaps not set forth upon its mission once again. Question. We sometimes see double men, as the twins of Siam, and others who are still more remarkable. As one body with two heads, there are two souls also? Answer. Every true human brain contains a true and independent human soul. All men's brains contain vast numbers of monads. Hundreds of these seek incarnation on every occasion, but only one or two, very rarely 3 or more, succeed at that time. The rest, those that fail, float about as before. Question. At that period of life, do men begin to attract these monads? Answer. At puberty, owing to peculiar chemical changes in the physical constitution, and females are capable of receiving and nursing them when a corresponding change is taking place in them. Question. Can impregnment ensue without physical contact? Answer. Yes. By the aid of artificial means, a monad may be successfully introduced and life ensue, but a very weak and imperfect life it must be of necessity.